As you can see, it's a full house and a loaded package for you on the program today, and it's always a tradition. Our studio line will be open so you can call and make your contributions to the conversation. And please ensure that you are civil in your language. You do not cast aspersion on our panelists here or any other person for that matter. Straight to the point, focus on the issues like we'll be doing on the program this morning. Let's get started with the hashtag End Hunger Protest. It's been for about 10 days, beginning from the 1st of August. It's to be or not to be. Will the youths listen to the stakeholders like traditional rulers who have been pleading and appealing to them on behalf of the federal government? Will they also listen to Mr. President against the appeals that are coming forth? Only time will tell. But what are the issues underlining these planned protests? Who are the sponsors of these planned protests? We saw a similar one in Kenya, and of course the Kenyan government led by President Ruto did a detour, changed its mind on the new tax regime, and the rest is history. So gentlemen, thank you again for coming on the program. Chief Abi Thomas, let me start with you. What are the undercurrents against the background of these planned protests? How germane are they? And what are your thoughts on how we can get this issue resolved, as it were?
Well, straightforward. The main issue is the fuel problem. The new government in the federal level, without justification, exactly on the day of swearing in, May 29th, said subsidy was removed. Right from that moment, subsidy removed has become our sufferings increased. We all know the role fuel plays in any society. It affects agriculture, it affects commerce, it affects production, it affects even the artisans. But unfortunately, it has not affected the number of convoys those who are leading us are having. You can't go to any market today and think of eating 3 square meals a day. Forget it. If you are an ordinary Nigerian, eating 3 times a day is off.
Okay. The
cost of every food item has gone up. I bought fuel to come here at 800 naira a liter. How much was it by May last year? If you look at the issue of electricity, the cost of electricity has gone up. These are 2 very important indices for development and survival: fuel, electricity. Insecurity added to it, which has been there for a very long time. So these young men are saying, look, before you discuss with us, return fuel to 100 naira as the basis. And if you do that, I can tell you, Sonny, the price of food coming from the rural areas to the markets, cost of transportation will drop. Landlords are going to increase their house rents as long as the cost of living keeps increasing. And if you increase minimum wage to 300,000 naira a month, as long as the cost of fuel and electricity is not reduced, Nigerians will continue to suffer. As long as there's no security to allow farmers to go to their farms freely, to cultivate and produce foodstuffs for Nigerians. As long as that insecurity is there, it is still going to be the same thing.
Okay.
The cost of living will keep on rising.
Okay.
So I wholeheartedly support the youths, but in civilized climes, the government will provide security for those who are going to protest to avoid people hijacking the protest and begin to damage and loot.
All right, let me pause you there. Let's get, it's to be or not to be. I mean, we had that conversation yesterday as far as this protest is concerned. But the concerns are numerous, but I think the most significant of them all is the fact that activities of this nature could be hijacked, and that becomes a major challenge for the society, because then it becomes uncontrollable. We've also heard people say, who are the people behind this protest? They mentioned hunger. They mentioned the fuel price increase. Are these human beings?
When you look at all the ramifications, what it boils down to is bad governance. Period. It covers everything, whether fuel subsidy, removal of fuel subsidy, inflation, corruption, everything is bad governance. Since the beginning of nascent democracy, we have had bad governance. People come to power or to contest for power without knowing what to do with power. And I thought when Tinubu became interested in contesting, I thought he had a manifesto that he was going to work on. Unfortunately, here is a man that is using the fire brigade approach, try and error, doing what is called the yo-yo government. Try one thing, if it doesn't work, you drop it. Try another thing, it doesn't work. They are bereft of ideas. The only person that has done well was Obasanjo, when he had a potpourri of intelligent, competent, and efficient people that constituted his economic team. After the egress of Obasanjo, Nigeria started, nosediving. Now, let us come to these protests. You see, with the elders, we have failed by not doing what the Gen Z are about to do. We are 100% behind them. What they are doing is their constitutional right and their birthright. Even the current president was also a well-known, protester during the Nadeko era, 2012. He participated. You cannot say that they cannot protest. Well, there is no protester that will go to the street armed. The hoodlums that they are talking about, they are usually manufactured by the government. Now, the same government.
How do you substantiate? How do you substantiate that?
How do I substantiate
that the hoodlums are usually
when they started the NSAD movement? Okay, good.
The government,
when they started the NSAD movement, for the first few days, it was very peaceful until the police and the military came aboard. That is when we started hearing violence and gunshots. So now, if we take a cue from what happened in other countries and what the mindset of this young generation, they are here for the betterment of this country. The country belongs to everybody, not just the president or the politicians. Look at what they are now doing. They are now telling everybody that the hoodlums will hijack. The spokesman for the military, Edward Buba, said 2 days ago that he has intelligent information that the hoodlums are coming to hijack the protests, and they are going to hit some suspects like the churches, the mosque, and some government establishment. If they already know who gave them that information are human beings, they are not first legs.
Okay.
The people that gave him that information, why can't he go and apprehend them?
Okay.
Assuming the question I asked him, if we were to be a military coup, they're planning a military coup, and he has that intelligence, is he going to wait until after the coup before he arrests, or he will go and arrest them, try them and kill them for treason?
That's been proactive.
Good. Yeah. Now, they are saying, after the police, they are coming, the DSS, they are saying, oh, the hoodlums. They are less than 1% of the total population. Now, they now went to the monarchs. These are people that are benefiting from the status quo, irrespective of who they are. Now the youths are more than 50 million. nothing will happen to them. They are more. You cannot sacrifice your well-being, your future, just because the less than 1% are telling you not to protect. What you need to do, go out there. The demands that you have, add more to it. Like what is happening, the blending company in Malta, we need to find out. NNPC that have been started in obscurity, the operation have been started in obscurity for so many years. We need to know until your demands are met. Please do not leave the street.
Okay,
Nigeria is a dog where or one time without the people there's no Oba. Without the people there won't be any government.
Absolutely.
So if you say that this government will not function until they meet your demand, you have the backing of everybody.
All right, so let me push you there, Mr. Gregory. Let's take it up a little bit. No doubt that the young people have the right to protest. And I saw a post yesterday saying that the National Assembly has shut down for some time, perhaps in anticipation of this protest. But the most interesting part is that a lot of people are traveling abroad, particularly the bourgeois, yes, the legislators, the governors, and what have you. Is that an escape route strategy to avoid this issue? And then again, the demands being made, how realistically possible do you think those demands can be met?
Well, let me start with the issue of the demands being met. The demands are, in practical terms, they can be met and they can be met very swiftly. What does it take? How many minutes did it take him to remove a fuel subsidy? How long did it take him to allocate money for his jets? How long did it take him to allocate money for the renovation of the First Lady's office? And of what relevance is that to the masses? Or how long did it take to allocate money for the SUVs of the various parliamentarians, both the upper house and the lower house? How long did it take? So when you are looking at it and you are saying, and somebody is saying that these demands cannot be met, we are not being realistic, because we are deniers of the real fact. That is the position. And then when we are talking of maybe the protest being hijacked, I feel very, very sad about that. How can you be talking of protest being hijacked? By whom? It is the duty of the law enforcement agents to protect private property, public property, and then those who are protesting. Protest is a constitutional right. The only thing I will advocate is it should be as peaceful as possible. As a youth, I took part in peaceful protest, and we got the message across, and we got our demands met within 24 hours. And the protest was peaceful. There was no hijacking. We talked to ourselves and we protested within 24 hours. The government met our demands. So I don't think trying to scare people into it, I mean, it's not an issue. For those running away, what are you running away from? You are running away, you will meet what you left behind, and you might not meet it the way you left it behind. So for those who are running away, stay here and solve the problem. Now, these traditional rulers, have they talked to the government? Assemblymen, have they talked to the government? And talk to the government very seriously. We always talk to the youths who are offended. We always talk to the citizens who are offended. What about the government? What about the government that is causing the problem, that is making people to, where fuel was increased, school fees was increased, electricity tariff increased? Where are these people who are talking now? Okay. What did they say?
Okay. All right, let me come back to you later. Roy, we've also seen some governments or some states saying they are not part of the protest. For example, in the FCT, the minister is saying that there is an official function of the government of the FCT that perhaps would be at variance with the protest, and so nobody is allowed to go to the street. In Lagos State, we heard that there's a certain festival that has been fixed within that period of the protest. I mean, these are things that I like to get to a person. What does this imply?
To me, the protest is the right time for all Nigerians to come out and endorse this protest. Justice Ele have since endorsed this protest.
No, that's your personal
opinion. Yeah, it's my personal opinion.
You can use platform to say
no,
all Nigerians out. No,
it's your personal opinion. I'm just telling you now, those who are calling for this protest, one of the first person is hunger, very critical.
Okay, hunger is one of the persons.
Yes. Well, therefore, there is no way you negotiate it. You know, as I'm talking now, in your bar, I'm reading that the fuel queue have resuscitated in Nigeria now, as we are talking now. The Nigerian government is not bothered. The Nigerian government is not bothered by the hunger now. The Nigerian government is not bothered by the frustration. You can see the energy the Nigerian government is using to reach out to the imams. We were told, records are there, that they had a meeting with the imams where money was disposed. Talk to your people on Friday. Pastors, talk to your people. The traditional doctor, they are not bothered to reach out to people who are hungry. I just saw a boy in the, a young boy in Ibadan committed suicide. What is the value of life? What is the value of life when you are not sure of the next meat to take? What is the value of life? For how long shall we continue to pretend in this country? Things are not working, we must say it. The Nigerian government know what to do. They will not do it. Now calculate the money the Nigerian government have used. You know, with the records I've seen on social media, if it's anything to rely on. If you look at those money the Nigerian government have used to reach out to persons they refer as critical stakeholders, are the traditional rulers, the imams, the pastors, then you begin to wonder, why not harness this money and use it to solve the problem confronting us as a people? For how long shall we continue to be chasing shadow? I see the Nigerian government chasing shadow on this issue. What the youth are demanding for is very straight. People are hungry. And the government have also recognized the fact that people are hungry. Now take your mind back. What is the Nigerian government doing for the citizens? What do we really benefit from Nigeria? We the Nigerians, what do we benefit from Nigeria? Even the Nigerian government, we the commoners are the ones taking care of those who are in position of authority. As my elder brother just said just now, the cover of the president have not reduced. He have not considered one to say, no, we cannot use these numbers of cars in our cover. The governor have not considered it wise. The National Assembly have not considered it wise. Very just I heard the House of Friends say, well, we are going to
50% reduction in their salary.
From 600 and something thousand, they want to be collected. Is that salary have never been the issue?
But that's look at the intent, not the amount.
No, the intention is very fantastic. I have no problem about that. That is what they can do. The Nigerian people need to express their frustration now through protests. Well, the Nigerian government must know that these protests won't have any. The intention of the hunger to go on protest is not to be violent. Yes. It is Nigerian government we should be begging. We must beg Nigerian government at this material. They should not use the institutions, the instruments of government to make the protest to be violent. Well, when Nigerian government go and mobilize people to confront those who are protesting, things might generally fall apart. Therefore, we have to beg Nigerian government. Allow Nigerian police as an institution, those who are protesting, give them that cover. Protect them. Let them be there. They want to do 2 days, they want to do on the street, let them to be there. I read the report yesterday that the DPOs have been summoned, that the vulcanizers, they have to remove tires. If they don't remove tires, these are not issues. You don't need to be talking about removing tires. Those are not issues. How do we protect our people? You just said in your open statement that some of these bourgeois are running away from this country because they have the resources. 3 days ago, I wrote it on my Facebook that yes, I've not eaten for the past 24 hours. And some persons were calling me, say, well, with this your size? I said, this is our size of the family. We have this kind of body. You people should not use it to reach me. You know, and then some persons reached out to me and I said, this is my frustration. If me cannot feed, what are those who are looking up to me? These are the issues. And the reality is on ground, it's on all of us. We must continue to be appealing to the Nigerian government. I expect the traditional rulers. I expect the imams, I expect the pastors to appeal to the Nigerian government, allow these youths to just express themselves through peaceful protest. Life is all about protest. You know, before I left Adjusted, my daughter said I should not move. He was protesting. Daddy, we have a birthday we are going to. I said, yes, we have a birthday, but I have to go to this program. He said, no, I have to go to the bank around. Is that not protest? You know, the Nigerian government must develop that kind of mentality to accept those who are protesting. Why must the Nigerian government continue to see protesters as an enemy? Okay. You know, even President Tinubu, as a man who have been in struggle, when in my university, I look at Tinubu, any time of protest is always there. There is no protest that have to do with Nigerian people that Tinubu did not support. And there is no protest in Nigeria that yours is as far as I'm alive. And we endorse it, especially have to do with the people. I have to use this opportunity. I have to beg the management of ITV that they should allow me to use opportunity to beg the Nigerian government not to make this protest to be violent.
Okay, let me pause it there. Chief AP Thomas, we are seeing or hearing some dissecting voices as it relates to this protest. I don't know what you make of that. With state governments, some state governments, deliberately creating activities or events within that same period. Isn't that, a deliberate affront on those, putting this protest together?
Thank you. Any state government that is putting on programs which intend to frustrate this protest, they are also exercising their democratic rights in a negative form. Look, we are talking about hunger. A hungry man is an angry man. As you are seeing me now, personally as a person, I am not happy with the situation of things. Any state that decides to, in fact, every state should suspend all their activities for the next 10 days from 1st to 10th in honor of those who are going to protest. We should congratulate them. We should congratulate them so that this attitude of creating programs like in Abuja or trying to say there should be no protest is wrong. It's wrong. We should always allow people to air their views. I'm saying. Now, you see governments, state governments declaring public holidays here and there over some religious festivals. First, you have to have food in your stomach before you can go to church, mosque, or anywhere to worship. You have to have food in your stomach before you can obey any government. So I expect that any government that feels threatened by peaceful protest of 1st to 10th of August should declare holidays. Declare holiday, let everybody sit at home. Then those who want to protest can now have free streets to protest. So I don't see any reason why any state government would try to create a situation to foreclose or frustrate the protest. Because those who are in government, I'm sorry to say this, they are living on us. Why am I saying they are living on us? What are they creating in government? Because you are elected, every year you are buying jeep of 160 million naira for people who sit down. Some are sleeping, some are not even, they've not moved one motion since May 29th last year. You buy jeep 160 million. You can imagine what 1 million will do in my own life, or 160 million Nigerians, 1 million to one of them. You will see what it can do in their own life. Some can start business. Some can start business. Okay. So if you multiply that 160 million to buy one jeep for 390 people, a House of Reps, they talk about those in the Senate, three. Then you look at what 1 million multiplied by the number of these people that are buying jeeps for. Not that the jeeps are not there. They are there. You are buying fresh ones. Okay, why don't you contract this car manufacturing to innocent motors so they can employ more people in Nigeria and reduce hunger? There are so many things this government has been doing that when the former government was there, we thought, oh, this one will come and better the lives of Nigerians. It is like what some Christians say, I don't know the verse in the Bible, that they went to meet a king and they said, look, your father used to do this or do that to us. He said, no, I am even going to use horsewhip on you. This is what we are facing.
Okay, let me proceed, Chief Thomas. Odigie, let me get back to you now. How realistic are the demands that is midwifing this process? Against the background that for every policy initiative, there's always a gestation period, there's a maturation period before we start feeling the impact. How realistic are these demands?
Well, the demands are very realistic and simple. Look at the first one. I think one of them is that they should abolish the Senate and chambers so that we have a
unicameral legislation. Okay.
That one is very realistic because with the Senate, it's duplication. And the Senate has become a receptacle for ex-governors that are under ESCC radar. So we don't really need them. And when you look at other, the removal of the fuel subsidy, the electricity tariff, NNPC, and to make the refineries operational. So these are things government ought to have been doing. Have a responsible government. But unfortunately, that is why I keep on saying democracy has failed us. Unfortunately, the people that we elect are the least competent, least intelligent people. Whereas the talented ones, they have all left the shores of Nigeria. Now, they are, what you now say, the governors, they are doing what they call, temporary, jackpine. They are running away from the country because of these proposed protests. The import of that, I was glad when I read it. The import is that the youths have the power and the capacity to decide what happens in Nigeria. If the governors are now running away from Nigeria, the president is running away from Nigeria to France at this critical time, then it shows that the power of the people is greater than the power of the gun. And that's a new definition of democracy. The man that has the gun is majority. If I have a gun as I'm here now, I will dictate to the whole of you. But if the people now decide to turn against that gun, there's nothing you can do. So what they are now telling us is that we have done you people wrong. We have absolutely nothing to offer. Almost everybody in Nigeria or in government, they are all crooks. When Dangote said that NNPC top-notch employees are owners of blending factory in Malta, and for the past 10 years, the importation from Malta, that is not even an oil-producing nation, is over 243%. And Farouk alleged or demarcated Dangote by saying that the sulfur composition of the diesel that is imported into the country is high. And they tested it. What happened? It was only 87%. But whereas those ones that were imported from Malta that are owned by Nigerian employees were over 1,800. Now, you see, we don't need to sweep this thing underneath the rug anymore.
Okay.
Let the government, it should be part of their demand. They should set up an independent investigative committee to look into it and ensure that whoever is guilty, like the Ahmed Farouk, must be suspended. I'm not trying to hold brief for Dangote, but we have an indigenous Yes. And you are saying you don't want. Now they are all running to America. They are running to Dubai. They are running to London. If those ones had not had their country or have been put their things right, do you think that they will have,
let me pause it there.
Enough is enough.
I'll come back to you. Barrister Greg Yai.
Yes.
Can't the youths mobilize and use the platform of elections to reset the country? Because on election days, you agree with me that in several instances you find them playing football and stuff like that. Let me get to take on that.
I think that changed in the last election. The last election, youth participation was massive, very, very massive. I know youths that mobilized, other youths and made sure that they came out. But what happened in that election is history, because were their votes allowed to count? Were their votes allowed to count? This is the frustration of the youths. That one, if they vote, you won't allow their votes to count. And then, if they want to develop themselves, they do not have any means of developing themselves. We'll be talking of starting business. What plan does the government have for youths that actually have entrepreneurial skill and zeal? To have soft loans, access to soft loans, to start them off. So instead, they are fleecing the country and taking this money away. You see, I don't look at those of them who are running away from the country. It's like an ostrich that buries its head in the sand. The whole body is seen by all. And the Western countries know who we are and what we are. Because sometimes we blame the Western countries for our own problems. But are we not the ones that go there, that take our resources and we go and give it to them? So for the youths are ready to stand for election. Look at the nomination forms. Look at the amount of money that you will need to buy nomination forms. Look at the amount of money that you will need to campaign, to see party elders, and then get in them to even say, okay, you can go ahead. Because if you don't see the party elders, so the whole process has been so much monetized that some of these youths who are talented, who are patriotic, they don't even have the chance to come out. We know what goes on in the various parties.
Okay, just
so
a moment.
Please, create an opportunity for them to ventilate their anger.
All right. In response to these issues that are dominating national discourse, we've seen on the part of the federal government initiating actions, programs, and policies to ameliorate the plight of Nigerians. With the fuel price increase, we heard about, palliatives coming from federal government. Palliatives are stipends to workers. Palliatives as grants to state governors to ameliorate the plights of their citizens. All of that has been going. I mean, just recently we are seeing government increasing minimum wage to 70,000 naira from the usual 30,000 naira. Aren't these efforts on the part of government to see how these pangs of hunger can be reduced?
Yeah, the government effort, to me, those efforts are just too shallow. They are too elementary. They cannot really serve as a panacea. I see no reason why, if you are paying, for instance, you are paying $1 billion for subsidy. You say you want to reborn of a study, you are not paying $2 billion for palliative. Does that make sense to any? We must expect Nigeria government to understand the working of Nigeria economy. What drives Nigeria economy is that petroleum product. In my village in Okwodua, we are buying petroleum product at $1.5 per liter because we don't even have a free station there. Now, and
you couldn't even put one filling station there, right?
I am the voice of the command. Where will I get money from? A man could not order 24 hours. We don't have that. Therefore, what Nigeria government is supposed to know, I expect President Tinubu will be there, he'll be on the side of the people. He's supposed to understand the workings of Nigeria economy. What really drives this economy? It's not a rocket science to make Nigeria to work. And I continue to tell people. They say, no, you can allow. I say, no, it does not take anything. Now, it's the petroleum products. What you're supposed to do is to look into directions. How do we sustain this? Because Nigerian people are not demanding too much from the Nigerian government. The only thing is that petroleum product. How do we do it? Now they told us that, no, we will remove subsidy. We will allow private sectors to build a refinery. Very just now, Nigerian government, we have crude oil. If you go to our backyard, you see crude oil. We are taking it abroad. They will refine it and bring it back to Nigeria. We said, no, we need the refinery. Dangote decided to set up a refinery. Dangote today is going to abroad to go and look for crude. Does that not tell you that Nigeria, when Nigeria is programmed, come for a disober reflection, that we have been complaining that we are taking our crude elsewhere, but now we don't have a refinery in Nigeria. It's just a shifting from Ologbo here to Lagos. It's not a problem. They said they could not give it to Dangote. Dangote need to go to world market. He's looking for it, America, in Europe, so that before he can refine. And I keep on asking people, as a farmer, I have yam in my barn. It does not take me anything again to tell my wife, bring one yam there, cook pounded yam. The only thing she will tell is, I don't feed pound. I say, let me pound. Then I enjoy my pounded yam. That means now leaving my barn, going to upper market to be looking for any pounded yam to buy again. Does that make sense to any human being? And the Nigerian government must look at it. This is not the time to look for what the IMF are saying, the World Bank are saying. This is time for we to think and know. We must have an indigenous policy to face our country, because Nigeria is very unique, and you must look for a unique method to settle what is confronting us. Okay. All this issue of saying we are giving up palliative is laughable, because palliative have never been a terrible government of a sudden is now synonymous with palliative. Yeah, palliative is not result. It can never be result, and it will never be a result. We need a very a deliberate effort from Nigeria government to make Nigeria work. And I will continue to. It's not rocket science. They can do this.
Let's scale up this conversation a little bit.